Hello, I am gonna make a video with some tips and tricks on how I am using a jump freighter. Uh, a jump freighter is basically a freighter which you can use to jump over several systems at a time and is a very important ship to have if you're living in null-sec or low-sec, and especially if you're living in null-sec because those regions are typically further away from high sec than the low sec systems. I am sitting in a Nomad. It is the Minmatar jump freighter. You have the Ark, which is the Amari one. You have the Anshar, which is the Galente one. And you have the Rhea, which is the Kaldari one. I'm not gonna talk about the different jump freighters in detail, but I can mention that the Nomad, the Minmatar one, which I'm using, has the smallest amount of cargo hold, but the shortest align time. Um, the jump freighter, just like the blockade runner, your survival rate depends more on how you are using the jump freighter rather than what type of jump freighter or what fit you have. My Nomad, I am using the jump drive economizers. I have those fitted. These are decreasing the amount of fuel which is required to activate your jump drive. You need fuel when you are using the jump freighter to jump, and each jump freighter has different variant of the fuel needed. Um, the Nomad is using hydrogen isotopes. That is the fuel I'm using. So with the economizers fitted, I will need less fuel to jump. In my cargo hold, I have these three modules, the expanded cargo hold Tech 2, if I need more cargo, if I need a bigger cargo hold, then I can refit into the expanded cargo holds. With the economizers fitted, I have 158.4 thousand cubic meters of space in my jump freighter. With the expanded cargo holds fitted, I get around 328,000 cubic meters. Let's say I am jumping without any cargo out to high sec and I want to uh, load my jump freighter with a bigger amount than 158,000 cubic meters. Then I fit my expanded cargo holds, and when I'm jumping out, I'm using the economizers to reduce the amount of fuel needed in order to jump. Uh, in order to use a jump freighter, you need to have two friends or two alts. I'm using two alts. One alt is to light the Cyno, and the other alt is to scout the outgate uh, to look for if there is any gate camp going on. There is suicide ganking in high sec, and a jump freighter, the hull itself costs around 10 or 10.1 billion ISK, so it's a very valuable target. Um, to use a jump freighter, like I said, you need a Cyno alt. Uh, this is the fit I'm using for my Cyno alt. It's a Venture fitted with an industrial Cyno, one expanded cargo hold, three small cargo hold optimizations, and the fuel. The fuel required to light the Cyno is called liquid ozone. For one cycle of liquid ozone, you need 240 liquid ozones for one cycle of the Cyno. And in order to be able to use this fit, you need to have this skill, sinusoidal field theory on at least level 4. This skill reduces the amount of liquid ozone needed to activate a Cyno. When you have it on level 4, then you only need 240 liquid ozone, and that will fit in this venture. Another thing about this fit is that it costs only around 8 million ISK, so if your Cyno would get killed, it's not a big loss. Just make sure that your Cyno is in an empty pod as well, because once you light your Cyno, the Cyno will be locked in position for 8 minutes where it cannot move or dock. So it gets in a it's a slightly risky situation for the Cyno. So it's very important that the ship you are using is as cheap as possible, because losing Cyno's ships isn't that uncommon. Uh, so there are three stages of using a jump freighter. You have the planning stage, you have the execution stage, that's where you are jumping and using the outgate to high sec. And the third stage is the return home. The planning stage, as well as the returning home stage, are the safest stages on using your jump freighter. Um, the most dangerous time you are using your jump freighter is when you are jumping out to high sec. That means when you are jumping through a stargate and out to high sec, that's when your jump freighter is at the biggest risk. Uh, if you don't want to jump out through the stargate, you can always dock your jump freighter and then use deep space transport to move your stuff in and out. That's also a way of doing it. So the planning stage, many people like to use a jump planner. Dotland.com has a jump planner where you can type in your starting position and your destination, and then the jump planner will calculate the route that you can use. I prefer to plan my route by myself. I can simply open up the map, and when you are in a ship, such as the jump freighter or other ships that can use jump drives, in your map you will see this big circle. This circle shows your jumping range, and as you can see with the jump freighter, I have quite a long jumping range. So when you are planning your route, you look at the edges of the jump range to see where you can jump. And the thing is that when you are jumping, you have to jump into a system which is bordering high sec, because you cannot light a Cyno in high sec. So for example, I cannot jump straight to Orval because it's high sec and it's not possible to light the Cyno. So I have to use a system which is low sec or null sec and which is bordering high sec. Uh, Another thing to think about when you are planning your route is to watch the kill boards. Look at the history. You can backtrack around 3 months to see if any jump freighters have been destroyed in that particular system and by what ships and where it got destroyed. Was it at the Stargate? Was it at the station? Etc. It's also very important that when you are looking for a system to jump to, if it's a sovereign null system, make sure that you have docking rights. If it's an NPC null system, make sure that there are NPC stations in which you can dock. And if it's low sec, it's the same procedure as NPC null. Make sure that you have stations in which you can dock at because you're going to light your Cyno within docking range of a station. You're going to jump and you're going to instantly dock. And that's the only safe way of using it. So do not jump into deep space or close to a Stargate, etc. You jump from station to station. You undock, you jump to station, you dock, and that is so you can earn yourself time, you can plan your next action, you can see the situation in the system you've jumped into, how many people are in local, etc. Um, if you're using a jump freighter properly, uh, it is very safe way to transport high amount of items. Uh, there are a few risks with a jump freighter, and that are Lancer dreadnoughts. I would say that is the biggest risk of using a jump freighter. Lancer dreadnoughts can lance your jump freighter. They don't have to target you. They can just if they know from where you're coming, they can activate their lancers. And if you get caught, you cannot jump through stargates and you cannot warp away. And at that point, you have basically lost your jump freighter. So it's very important that when you're in the planning phase, that you are looking at the kill boards, and once you reach the system, that you look at the people who are in the system, check their kill boards, see what ships they are usually using in order to execute the jump in a safe way. Also, another thing to think about when you are choosing a system where you're gonna jump is how far is the station from the outgate. Ideally, it should be within the scan range. So once you undock your jump freighter, you can point your D-scan towards the outgate to see if there's anything around that Stargate. Another thing which is quite important is the angle of undock. So when you're undocking your ship, the undock should be pointed as much as possible towards the outgate to reduce the align time because a jump freighter has quite a long align time and you don't want to align for too long. Sometimes you cannot find a station which is pointed towards the outgate, but that's the way it is. Just make sure that uh, nobody is in local. And if somebody is in local, make sure to check their history to see what ships they're using so you don't get any surprises. Uh, Further, always jump to a station. That is the most important thing. Do not jump, do not Cyno on a Stargate. Use it to dock. So I will be undocking shortly. I can just mention this skill. jump drive calibration. This is the skill which increases your maximum jump range. It's a very valuable skill because you want to lower the amount of jumps needed. If you live very far away from the closest high-sec system, you're going to need more jumps to reach the high-sec out gate. So by training this skill to level 5, you will have quite a long jump range. So I will be lighting a Cyno, and I will be undocking. And as always, control plus space in order to stop your ship. You don't want to swerve too far from the station. In case there's any sign of trouble, you can just instantly dock into the station. Uh, Once I've lit in the Cyno, I can right click on my capacitor. I click on jump to, and there's the Cyno, and I'm off. Now I have landed at one part of my route. This system is not bordering high-sec, so I will be docking here uh, and wait until my Cyno timer is over. Then I will be lighting a Cyno on the next system, and it's also gonna be at a station in which I'm gonna instantly dock. In my route, I have a fixed route which I'm using, and you probably will have one too. If you live in null-sec, you're gonna have your own route which you're using regularly. Um, what I'm doing is that I have my Cyno ventures in every station I'm using, as well as liquid ozone, the fuel required. That way I can use my Cyno alt in a shuttle to jump between the uh, locations, so I don't have to jump gates in my Cyno ship and risk losing it in the process. As you can see, here is the Cyno which I have lit, and an advice when lighting a Cyno, every station has a ring. Within this ring, it means that you're within docking range and you can instantly dock. So it's very important that you light your Cyno within this ring. And as you can see, the Cyno is here. My ship showed up here, so it's not exactly on the Cyno. So it's very important that when you're lighting your Cyno, that you're not so close to the edge of the ring, because then there's a risk that your jump freighter is going to be outside of the docking range, and that can be a problem should there be any signs of trouble. On the other hand, you shouldn't light a Cyno too close to the structure itself, because then your jump freighter can get inside the structure and then you will get bumped away. And sometimes when you get bumped, you can just fly like a rocket and uh, that way get outside of docking range, and that's not a good thing. So when you are lighting a Cyno, you have to think about these things. I will be showing how I do when I light the Cyno. So I'm gonna dock here, and I'm gonna wait uh, until my Cyno is freed. Then I'm gonna move my Cyno in a shuttle because I have prepared with a Cyno ship, a Cyno venture in the next station I'm gonna jump to. Alright, so I'm gonna show how to position your Cyno ship when lighting a Cyno. Let's say you want to jump to an ASBL, for example. We got our ASBL here. I'm waiting for the station to load. There we go. Alright, so there is my venture. Here is the ring within docking range. Where I place my Cyno, I align to a spot. I can also activate the micro warp drive to make the process a little bit faster. And I can hover my camera so I view my ship from above. I can stop my ship around here. As you can see, here is where I would light the Cyno. My jump freighter will be anywhere in this area. That means not close to be outside of docking range, but also no risk of it getting on the station and then bumped out and so far away that you uh, are out of docking range. So this is how I would position the Cyno. I will now be doing the most dangerous part of using a jump freighter. I'm gonna use the out gate to jump out into high sec. Um, it's important that you have a bookmark very close to the out gate so that you don't have to slow boat anything, basically so that you can instantly jump. So I'm gonna undock. Once I undock, I have to check my bearings. So there is the out gate. I will use my bookmark. As you can see, my undocking range is pointed very close towards the out gate, so my align time is very short. Once I reach the gate, I press on D and make sure that I am activating my jump so I don't get bumped off the Stargate. Alright, now I am jumping through. I'm in high sec. It's the same procedure. I hold my cloak to see what's around the gate, if there are any signs of danger. And once I am in high sec, I have reached high sec. What I will be doing, I'm gonna dock because you shouldn't jump any gates with your jump freighter, not even in high sec. And the reason for that is uh, suicide gankers. The um, hull of a jump freighter is more than 10 billion ISK. So you're gonna be a target um, even if you don't have any cargo. So what I'm doing, I do not jump gates all the way to Jira. I have my station here where I can dock. And once I dock, I change into a regular freighter. In my case, it's the Fenrir. And I use the Fenrir to jump to Jira. So I will be docking my jump freighter and it's gonna stay docked. I will bring the goods I need in my regular freighter. I will take the goods back and then I will fill my jump freighter. And the return home is a lot easier than jumping out because you can jump in to low-sec or null-sec with Cyno from high-sec, but you cannot jump to high-sec because you cannot light a Cyno in high-sec. So when I have loaded my jump freighter, I will undock, I will stop my ship, and then I will jump from high-sec into null-sec, and I'll follow the same procedures as always. I will light the Cyno at the station. I will instantly dock once I have jumped in. So I will dock here at this station with my jump freighter. And I will be changing into my Fenrir. It is the Minmatar freighter. I will then set my destination to Jira 44. It's 12 jumps, and I will do those 12 or 24 jumps because I have to come back with the goods as well in an ordinary freighter. So don't jump gates with a jump freighter. The only time you should jump a gate, it's when you have to jump out to high sec. Uh, but don't jump between gates with a jump freighter. You change into a ordinary freighter for jumping gates to Jira and back. Um, I hope you have found this video uh, valuable. Uh, Please comment if you got any tips and tricks which are good. And I wish you a pleasant day. Thanks for watching.